Let me ask you something. Every single month, you go to work, you grind, you hustle, and then, like clockwork, a big chunk of your paycheck disappears, gone, to your landlord. And here's the part that nobody talks about. While you're stressing about rent going up again, your landlord is literally building wealth with your money. Think about that. You are funding someone else's retirement, someone else's net worth, someone else's financial freedom every single month. And the worst part? Most of us were told this was normal. We were told renting is just what you do when you're not ready to buy. But what if I told you that not ready is costing you hundreds of thousands of dollars over your lifetime? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you are going to see the rental market in a completely different way. And I'm going to show you exactly what you can do about it. I'm Cindy, and I am here to explain the money stuff they never taught us. Let's get into it. Okay, so let's start with the cold, hard numbers, because once you see this math, you cannot unsee it. The average rent in the United States right now is hovering around $1,700 a month. In major cities like Atlanta, Houston, or Chicago, you're easily looking at $1,200 to $2,500 a month, depending on the area. Let's use a conservative number, $1,500 a month. $1,500 a month times 12 months is $18,000 a year. Now let's say you've been renting for 10 years. That's $180,000 you have paid in rent. What do you have to show for it? Nothing. Zero equity, zero ownership, zero wealth building. Now let's flip the script and look at your landlord's side. Your landlord bought that property, let's say for $200,000, maybe 10 or 15 years ago. They put down 20%, which is $40,000. They took out a mortgage for the remaining $160,000. Their monthly mortgage payment? Probably around $900 to $1,100 a month. But you are paying them $1,500 a month. So every single month, they are pocketing the difference. Roughly $400 to $600 in cash flow after the mortgage is paid. And on top of that, the property has appreciated in value. That same $200,000 house, in most markets over the last decade, it could now be worth $300,000, $350,000, even $400,000. So let's add this up from your landlord's perspective. Monthly cash flow from your rent over 10 years, roughly $48,000 to $72,000. Property appreciation, $100,000 to $200,000 or more. Equity built through mortgage paydown, which you funded, tens of thousands more. Your landlord turned a $40,000 down payment into potentially $300,000 or more in wealth. With your money. This is not me saying your landlord is a bad person. This is me saying the system was designed to make landlords rich. And most of us were never told how it works. So if renting is such a bad deal financially, why do so many of us keep doing it? I'll tell you why. Because we've been fed a list of excuses that keep us stuck. Excuse number 1, I can't afford a down payment. This is the number one reason people give. And look, I hear you. A down payment feels massive. But here's what most people don't know. You do not always need 20% down. There are FHA loans that allow you to put down as little as 3.5%. There are VA loans for veterans with zero down. There are USDA loans for certain rural areas, also zero down. And many states and cities have first-time homebuyer assistance programs that can help with down payment and closing costs. Now, I'm not saying buying is right for everyone in every situation, but I am saying that the I can't afford the down payment story is often based on a 20% assumption that isn't even required. Excuse number 2, I'm not ready to settle down in one place. This one is interesting because it sounds like freedom, but let's be real. How many of you have been in the same city for 5, 7, 10 years? Still renting? Still not ready? Flexibility is real and it matters. But flexibility is costing you a fortune if you've been in the same place for years. Excuse number 3. Home ownership is too much responsibility. Repairs, maintenance, property taxes, yes, those are real costs. But guess who is actually paying for all of those things when you rent? You are. It's baked into your rent price. Your landlord isn't absorbing those costs out of the goodness of their heart. They're passing them on to you through your monthly payment, plus a profit margin on top. Excuse number 4. The market is too expensive right now. This one is trickier, because in some markets, it genuinely is more expensive to buy than rent, on a monthly basis right now, especially with interest rates where they've been. But here's the thing. Renting isn't free. It's just expensive in a way that doesn't show up as clearly on your balance sheet. When you rent, you're paying 100% interest, because 100% of your rent goes to someone else with zero return to you. The system benefits when you stay convinced that renting is your only option. Banks, real estate investors, property management companies, they all profit from your monthly payment. The longer you rent, the more they win. Let me break down exactly how your landlord is getting rich, because understanding this is actually the key to your own financial strategy. Wealth builder number 1, cash flow. This is the obvious one, the monthly profit after expenses. If your landlord collects $1,500 and pays $1,100 in mortgage, taxes, and insurance, they're clearing $400 a month. That's $4,800 a year. Not life-changing on its own, but multiply that across 5 properties and it's $24,000 a year in passive income. That's a car payment, a vacation, an investment account for doing very little. Wealth builder number 2, appreciation. Real estate historically appreciates at about 3 to 4% per year on average. In some markets, it's much higher. That appreciation happens on the full value of the property, not just the down payment. So if a property is worth $250,000 and appreciates 4%, that's a $10,000 gain in 1 year on a $50,000 down payment. That's a 20% return on their investment. You'd have to be a serious stock market investor to regularly beat that. Wealth builder number 3, mortgage paydown, also called equity. Every month when your landlord makes that mortgage payment, a portion of it goes toward paying down the principal of the loan. This builds equity. Over time, they own more and more of that property. But here's what makes this mind-blowing. They are paying down that mortgage with your rent money. You are literally building their equity for them, while building none for yourself. Wealth builder number 4, tax benefits. This one is the secret weapon. Landlords get to deduct mortgage interest, property taxes, insurance, repairs, depreciation, and even mileage driven to check on the property. Depreciation alone is a massive tax loophole. The IRS allows property owners to depreciate the value of a residential property over 27.5 years. So on a $200,000 property, that's over $7,000 a year in a paper loss that can offset their rental income, meaning they might pay little to no tax on that rental profit. Meanwhile, you as the renter get 0 tax benefits from your monthly payment. Not one deduction. Nothing. 4 streams of wealth building: cash flow, appreciation, equity, and tax benefits, all flowing to your landlord every single month, while you get a place to sleep. Now let me talk about something that I know hits close to home for a lot of you. Rent increases. You find a place you love, you settle in, you make it your home, and then the lease renewal comes, and suddenly your rent is going up $150, $200, $300 a month. And what can you do? Move? Moving costs money. Finding a new place takes time and energy. So most of us just pay it. This is not an accident. Landlords know that the cost of moving, financially and emotionally, acts as an anchor. It keeps you in place, even as the price goes up. In real estate investing circles, they actually call this tenant stickiness. Your inconvenience is their pricing power. And here's the financial gut punch. Your rent will likely never stop going up. But a fixed-rate mortgage? That payment stays the same for 30 years. Your landlord's mortgage payment in year 15 is the same as it was in year 1. But your rent in year 15 is probably 40% higher than when you moved in. So the gap between what they pay and what you pay keeps growing. Their wealth keeps compounding, and you keep funding it. Now let me be clear. I know renting is sometimes the right choice. If you're in a city temporarily, if you're recovering financially, if the local market genuinely doesn't make sense for buying, renting can be the smart short-term move. I'm not here to shame anyone for renting, but I want you to rent with your eyes open. I want you to know exactly what is happening with that money every month so you can make a plan to change it. Okay, Cindy, this is all great information, but what do I actually do about it? I've got you. Here are practical steps you can start taking right now, whether you're planning to buy in 1 year or 5 years. Step 1. Stop treating rent as a fixed, permanent expense. Start asking yourself, is there a version of my life where this changes? What would I need to do to become a homeowner in the next 3 years? Write that number down. Research what homes cost in your area. Get a realistic target. Step 2. Start building your down payment intentionally. Open a separate high-yield savings account and label it Future Home. Even $200 or $300 a month adds up fast. In 3 years at $300 a month, you have $10,800 plus interest. That's not a full down payment in a high-cost market, but it's a foundation. And paired with down payment assistance programs, it might be enough. Step 3. Work on your credit score aggressively. Your credit score is one of the biggest factors in what interest rate you'll get on a mortgage. The difference between a 640 credit score and a 750 credit score could be 0.5% to a full percent in interest, which on a $200,000 loan translates to tens of thousands of dollars over the life of the loan. Pull your free credit report, dispute any errors, pay down revolving balances, and stop opening new credit accounts. Step 4. Research first-time homebuyer programs in your state. I cannot stress this enough. So many people have no idea that their state, city, or county offers grants, forgivable loans, or down payment assistance specifically for first-time buyers. And many of these programs target moderate income earners. Google your state first-time homebuyer assistance program and be prepared to be surprised by what's available. Step 5. If you're not ready to buy, invest the difference. If buying genuinely isn't an option right now, don't just let that money sit or get absorbed into lifestyle inflation. If you're renting below market rate and have extra cash, invest it. Put it in a Roth IRA. Max out your employer 401k match. Put it in index funds. You may not be building equity in a home, but you can still be building wealth. It just requires intentionality. Bonus step. Consider house hacking. This is a strategy more people need to know about. House hacking means buying a property and renting out part of it. A room, a basement unit, a duplex unit, to offset or completely cover your mortgage. Suddenly, you become the landlord. Your tenant funds your mortgage. You build equity. You get the tax benefits. The entire dynamic flips. It doesn't have to be glamorous. It doesn't have to be your forever home. But it can be the bridge that gets you from renter to owner to investor. Here's what I need you to take away from this video. Renting is not a character flaw. It is not a life sentence. But it is a financial decision with real costs. Costs that most of us were never taught to see clearly. Your landlord is not lucky. They are not smarter than you. They just understood the rules of the game earlier, and now you know the rules too. So the question is, what are you going to do with that knowledge? Are you going to keep funding someone else's retirement? Or are you going to start building your own? The first step is awareness, and you just took it. If this video helped you see something differently, I need you to hit that like button. It genuinely helps this channel reach more people who need to hear this. And if you want more videos breaking down the money stuff they never taught us in school, subscribe to Cindy Explains, because we are just getting started. Drop in the comments, are you currently renting or are you a homeowner? I read every single comment, and I want to know where you are in your journey. I'll see you in the next one. Take care of your money, because nobody else is going to do it for you.